My girlfriend of 3 years had another boyfriend. Same city, same friend group, same I love you texts. And I had absolutely no idea until the night everything collapsed at once. Her name was Mara. We met at a work event, hit it off immediately, and within 6 months we were basically living together. She was funny, attentive, always texting back fast, always had an explanation for everything. I thought I hit the jackpot. Turns out I was just the second player in a game I didn't even know I was in. The first sign I missed was her schedule. She worked late 2 or 3 nights a week. Always different days. Always a different reason. Deadline. Team dinner. Emergency call with a client in another time zone. I never questioned it because she always came home, always texted updates, always seemed exhausted in a way that made sense. But here's what I didn't know. She wasn't working late. She was spending those nights at his place. I would have never found out. Never. Except her other boyfriend made one mistake. One tiny, stupid mistake that blew 3 years of carefully constructed lies into pieces. And it started with a birthday cake. Her birthday was on a Friday. I'd planned a surprise, dinner reservation, her closest friends, a cake from this bakery she'd been obsessing over for months. Everything was set. She thought we were just going for a casual dinner. When we walked in and everyone yelled surprise, she genuinely looked shocked. I thought it was the good kind of shocked. It wasn't, because sitting at that table was her coworker Jamie, someone she'd introduced to me once, months ago. And Jamie had no idea who I was. But more importantly, Jamie had been texting Mara all week helping plan a birthday surprise. A different one, for the same night, at a different restaurant, with the other boyfriend. Jamie froze when she saw me. Mara's face went completely white, and for a second nobody said anything. Then Jamie's phone buzzed on the table. We all saw the name on the screen. It wasn't my name. I didn't explode. I didn't cause a scene. I just looked at Mara and said, "Who's Dylan?" And in that moment, watching her face cycle through 10 different lies in about 2 seconds, I already knew. She went with option 7. He's just a friend from the gym. But Jamie looked like she wanted to disappear. Because Jamie knew who Dylan was. And Dylan had just texted asking why Mara wasn't at the restaurant yet. For the other birthday dinner that he had planned. For the girlfriend he thought he exclusively had. I excused myself to the bathroom. I'm not proud of what I did next, but I don't regret it either. I went through her phone, and what I found in the next 4 minutes was not a single affair. It was an entire parallel relationship. 3 years of Dylan. Good morning texts sent before she sent them to me. Weekend trips logged as work conferences. A shared Netflix account. An anniversary photo in her camera roll from 6 weeks ago. The same week, she told me she loved me for the first time. They had been together 2 months longer than us. I walked back to the table and sat down. I didn't say anything. I just slid her phone across the table with the conversation open. She looked at it. Then she looked at me. And then she said something I will never forget for the rest of my life. She said, "I was going to tell you." Not sorry. Not an explanation. I was going to tell you. Like she was the victim of her own lie. Like she'd been planning to eventually clean up the mess she'd been building for 3 years. And then she started crying. Not because she'd hurt me, but because she'd been caught. There's a difference, and I felt it immediately. Meanwhile, Dylan was still texting. Still waiting at a restaurant across town with flowers and a cake. A guy who had no idea he was also being cheated on. And our mutual friends were sitting at the table watching all of this happen in complete silence. I left. I paid for the dinner I didn't eat, said goodbye to my friends, and walked out. I texted Dylan that night. I know that sounds insane, but it felt like the right thing to do. He deserved to know. He replied 3 hours later. Turns out he'd been suspicious for months, but kept convincing himself he was wrong. We talked for about an hour. 2 strangers connected by the worst possible thing. Mara lost both of us the same night. She called me 17 times. I answered once, on day 4, just long enough to say I'd be picking up my things on Saturday. She tried to explain. I hung up after 40 seconds. Last I heard, Mara tried to get back together with Dylan 2 weeks later. He blocked her. She moved cities 6 months after that. I haven't spoken to her since the Saturday I picked up my things. Sometimes I think about the version of me who never found out, who proposed, who built a life on a foundation that was never real. And then I remember that birthday cake, and how the worst night of my life was also the night I got out. What would you have done when you walked back to that table? Comment below.